Hello, everyone. Welcome to In the Cordon, the place where every cricketer wants to be. I'm your host, Callum Dung, and thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the podcast. What a fantastic finish it was from an Indian point of view on day 5 at Old Trafford with Ravindra, Jadeja, and Washington Sundar getting hundreds. Washington Sundar getting his maiden Test 100, so that's a fantastic achievement for him. And coming in at number 5 due to the injury to Rishabh Pant, I thought it was a fantastic knock. Showed great maturity. He's still quite a young player overall. I think he's about 24 years of age. But the way that he was able to handle himself in the situation, I thought was absolutely outstanding. And India to be 4 for 425 and being none for 2 or 2 for none if you're from Australia, I think was a truly amazing achievement. And obviously we'll talk about the contributions of Shubman Gill, the captain, a fighting 100, and KO Rahul with a gritty 90 as well. Lots of great points to talk about in this particular game. But I just sort of wanted to touch on sort of the events that happened in the last hour of the game with Ben Stokes sort of going to offer the draw and India refusing to take it. And I thought the reaction from Ben Stokes was extremely childish. I think he didn't like that the test match wasn't going his way, and India had every right to see out the day as they wanted to. They earned the right to bat. You know, it was over 100 overs that they faced it in that third innings, and considering that they were 2 for none with Jaiswal and Shai gone in consecutive deliveries, and to get over a total of 400 was a credit. And Sundar and Jadeja certainly had the right to go on and get those hundreds. I just thought it was really poor from the England point of view. I thought it was really poor leadership from Ben Stokes, who I've got a tremendous amount of respect for with the way that he plays the game himself, and I thought he was spectacular in this game as a player. But I think that's that sort of last hour is a period I think he'd like to take back. I thought it was really disrespectful to the 2 players in the middle. I thought it was disrespectful to the Indian cricket team overall. And look, there was a lot made of it after the game, and Nasser Hussain said he didn't have a problem with it, and he chose to bowl, blokes who don't really ever bowl. And sure, it didn't make the prettiest game into the game, but that's what he decided to do, and that's cricket. There's games that I played in that I'd love nothing more than to get off the field and have a cold beer, but the other team wanted to keep batting, and that's just the game. Sometimes it works in your favour, sometimes it works against you, but I think Stokes would like to take that moment back. So if we head back to the first day, England decide to bowl first on that wicket, and look, it had a touch of grass on it, but overall, I think it was a really poor pitch for Test match cricket. It was a new ball pitch, and obviously, if you bowled well with the new ball, you're able to, find something. But I think overall, it was a pretty ordinary wicket for Test cricket. I thought the wicket at Headingley was probably the best of the wickets, and Edgbaston's wicket was pretty good. But yeah, this one. I don't know, Manchester, with the amount of weather that's around, like either they've got to make it really, really dry so it breaks up and gives something for the spinners, or I think they've got to put a lot more grass on the wicket just to make it a bit more interesting. Obviously, I'm surprised that they didn't ask for more grass on the wicket, considering that England always loved to bowl first under the Bazball era. So, I thought it was, look, I don't begrudge Ben Stokes for looking to bowl first. That's playing to his team's strengths. But the wicket was just a bit boring for Test cricket, unfortunately. And obviously, you got to play with what you've got. But I would have liked a little bit more, whether it was bounce, sideways movement, or even more variable bounce, as we sort of saw in patches on the last day. Yeah, I think it was disappointing. Let's talk about some of the key moments, or one of the key moments in this game, and that was the injury to Rishabh Pant on the first day, getting a ball on the foot, going for a reverse sweep. Interesting shot, and I think if he had his time back, he would certainly do some things differently. But I thought when he went off the field and then came back on the morning of day 2, he showed tremendous courage. Obviously, he was in some extreme discomfort, had to get a jab in the foot, and it's pretty unlikely he's going to be playing at the Oval, and it's basically confirmed now that Jarrell will be coming into the team, and I do think it hurts India's chances of winning at the Oval, just because of the form that he's in, the quality of player that he is. Obviously, first choice keeper, and Jarrell has struggled at points with the gloves when he's taken over as substitute keeper. I thought he kept really well in India about 18 months ago when England last went to India. I thought he was quite well in the 3 test matches he played, and he showed something with the bat. But yeah, I think it's a big loss, and he just has so much aura and brings eyeballs to the game. And if I'm sort of tossing up between going to bed here in Australia and watching the game, and I know Pant's batting at that point in time, I'm more than likely going to stay up just because I know that he's going to tick the game along and get moving. Shai Siddharthan scored a maiden test 50, and I thought it was great that he came back into the side. Unfortunately, got a first ball duck in his second innings, but I thought the way that he showed temperament and patience and was able to clip through the leg side, drive straight. I think he's someone that India have to stick with for a long period of time. I've rated him for a couple of years. He's got a good blend of defense and attack. I was really critical after they dropped him from the first game and put Kurunaya up to number 3, and that experiment didn't work. And look, I think I understand why they wanted to give Kurunaya an extended run in the side, but a bloke who is batting at number 6 versus a guy who's a natural number 3, and you drop the natural number 3 for the 6 to go up to the top of the order. I still think that's a mind-boggling decision from Gambhir and the coaching staff and whoever selects the Indian side. I'm not sure how much Shubman Gill has calls and sways in Indian selection, but Thakur, I thought, was good for an innings with the bat. He's not offering much with the ball, unfortunately, and he bowled 11 overs for 55, and compared to the amount of overs that Siraj and Bumrah bowled in this game, I didn't think it was really worth playing him, unfortunately. And I said this a little bit, he may as well not have played the first test match at Headingley. That's how little he contributed to the side. But I personally wouldn't be playing him at the Oval. And the debutant, Cambodge, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, wasn't even in the squad, drafted in due to Akashdeep and Ashdeep Singh not being available to play at Old Trafford, and comes and takes the new ball ahead of Mohammad Siraj, who has a fifer in this series and has played every game for India. I thought it was a very strange choice. I would have thought that India would have potentially had some quicker seamers that they could turn to outside of their squad. I thought they would have had a number of high quality paces that they could have brought into the side, and I think this just shows the loss of Mohammad Shami as well. If Shami was available to go on this tour, he'd certainly be playing and causing some real headaches for this England batting lineup with the high quality seam position and getting his wrist behind the ball, obviously bowling with decent pace, and he can bat a little bit too. He's not the world's greatest tail ender, but he can certainly contribute more than some of the others that India have in the lower order. So I thought that was a very poor decision. Congratulations on the debut, but I personally don't think we'll be seeing too much of Kambodge as we move forward throughout this series and into future Test series for India. KL Rahul, I thought was sensational in this game. 46 in the first innings, probably would be disappointed not to have gone on and scored a big 100, but his 90 was fighting. It was gutsy. He was under a lot of pressure, and he dealt with that pressure extremely well. He's someone that I said needed to really stand up with the loss of Rod Sharma and Virat Kohli at the start of the series. He really needed to stand up being a senior player, and I don't think India could have asked too much more from him at this point in time. And I'm just really glad that he's got an opportunity, and hopefully for India and Rahul himself, he can stay consistent. And whenever they go back to India, that I think that will be where his true test, because he doesn't have a great home record, but he's got a fantastic record away from home. So I'm really pleased that he's been able to do so well in this series. Got a lot of respect for him as a player. And hopefully he can have another great 3 or 4 years in this Indian side at the top of the order. Jadeja, seriously impressive player, and he's probably right up there in terms of a player of the series. Obviously, you've got Stokes and Shubman Gill. Gill went past 700 runs in this game, and we'll touch on him in a little bit. But 103 and 4 for 143, and that deck was pretty hard to bowl on. There wasn't much in it for any of the bowlers, pace or seam or spin. So, yeah, I thought that he was able to do a terrific job. He's been batting so well this series, and I've never seen him bat so well overseas. I've seen him have like a really gutsy lower order runs when he's been playing in India, because he bats at number 5 or number 6 in India. But the fact that he's been able to do it here in Australia, scored some useful runs here, he's scoring runs in England, just shows how good of a cricketer he is. He's getting better with age, and with the way that he's going, I can't see a reason why he can't play another 2 to 3 years of Test match cricket, despite being the age of 36. And he's probably the most valuable player in this Indian side, in my opinion, in both home and overseas conditions. And with the way that he's been able to bat, it's just been very valuable for India. And the way that he batted at Lords in that pressure situation, he's right up there for me as player of the series. Shubman Gill, another fighting 100. He just oozes class, and as if you would have watched my preview video, I was kind of shocked that they named him captain, considering that KL Rahul had captained India before, and Gill got dropped in Australia for the Boxing Day Test. But I've never seen someone grab an opportunity with the captaincy the way that Shubman Gill has in the first couple of Test matches. Michael Clarke does come to mind. Steve Smith, when he took over Australian captaincy, comes to mind. Virat Kohli, when he first took over Indian captaincy, that sort of came to mind in that Border Gavaskar series of 2014-15. So, look, I think he's still got a lot to learn as a tactical captain. And there were points where he could have maybe been a little bit more aggressive, but it was a pretty lifeless pitch. So I'm not going to be too critical. And it was obviously the same for both sides. And England struggled to take wickets on that deck as well. So if we move over to England now, firstly, congratulations to Joe Root moving past Ricky Ponting as the second leading run scorer in Test match cricket, over 13,000 runs. I think he will catch Sachin in terms of the number of games played and the number of runs scored. And I think this is just purely down to the fact that England play so much Test cricket compared to the rest of the sides in the world. And 38 Test hundreds, Ricky Ponting was 41. I believe Callis was about 43. I don't know whether he'll pass Tendulkar in terms of getting 50, 51 test hundreds. I do think that's still a long way off. Like 12 is a long time, but the way that he's been able to not rejuvenate his career, because he's always been a high quality player, but take that step to the next level since that COVID break. And that was a really critical time. I remember sort of 2021 where it was his 100th test match, went to Chennai, got a double 100, and he's just not taken a step backwards. I think a test will come for him when he comes to Australia, and I'm pretty certain he's going to break the drought in terms of scoring a test 100 here in Australia. But it's a truly tremendous achievement, and got a lot of respect for Joe Root. He plays the game in the right way. And I think a weight of the world got lifted off his shoulders too with not being captain of this side anymore. And I think Stokes is the natural born leader for this team, despite the comments made about him earlier in the episode with some of his behaviour. But overall, I think Stokes has been a very good captain for England and allowed Joe Root to just purely 100% focus on his batting, and we've seen the rewards. Duckett and Crawley had a great opening partnership. Crawley was actually able to do something in this game. I still don't rate him very highly. But, from an England point of view, if he comes off, 3 out of every 10 knocks, they're probably going to take that, because in one of those games, he's probably going to just turn the tide and pull a game firmly in England's favour. Ollie Pope, 71, probably disappointed not to kick on with it. Jacob Bethel sort of breathing down his neck for that number 3 spot, but if you said to this point that Pope would have had a test 100 and a 50 to this point of the series, I think he would have been reasonably happy with it. I was going to say fully happy with it, but I think reasonably happy with it is fair enough, and just releases the pressure. If Pope's able to score some runs at the Oval on his home ground, I think he will be the number 3 when England do come to Australia. But if he does have a couple of failures, I do think they'll seriously consider Jacob Bethel for that number 3 spot. Ben Stokes, player of the match, and I think that's well deserved. 141, 5 for 72. Easily England's best bowler in this series. There is no doubt in my mind. Whenever England have needed something, he's turned to himself. He's put the team on his back. Look, he hasn't had the greatest of series with the bat, but the way that he's been contributing with the ball for this team has been very important. And I don't think England would be in front of this series if it wasn't for Ben Stokes' efforts with the ball. So it's just showing the great appeal of having a high quality all rounder in your side, and how it can really, turn a game. And Australia probably hoping that with Cameron Green lead into the future if his body holds up. But I think Stokes just needs to be careful and manage himself. We saw him a little bit sore on day 5 with that sort of shoulder injury, but Stokes always strikes me as the type of person he's always going to be playing sore, and he's always going to have a niggle. So that's probably the overall opinions of this particular game. If we forecast ahead to the test match at the Oval, and I think the Oval is a great venue for test match cricket, and I'm always of the opinion that you bat first at the Oval. I've seen a number of games where teams have bowled first and then ended up conceding about 500 or so. Tim Payne in 2019. I've got some pretty strong views on that one. Should have won that series in 2019. But obviously some changes if we're looking ahead to the Oval. Seems pretty obvious that Jarrell is going to be coming in place of Rishabh Pant. It's obviously very disappointing that Pant's not going to be able to conclude the series. He's obviously a tremendous performer, entertainer, and someone that will be sorely missed. If Akash Deep is available, he needs to come back into this side. Bumrah has to play. With the chance of drawing the series, I think that you have to risk Bumrah. And the fact that India have only bowled once in this game, I think is going to hold a massive advantage. compared to England, who have bowled twice, and they're probably going to be forced into some changes. So, yeah, I'd be bringing in Akashdeep if he's fit and available. I wouldn't be playing Thakur personally. I would personally love to see Kuldeep Yadav come into the side, play three spinners. Traditionally, the oval does spin, so if Shubman Gill can bat first, post some runs, and then the spinners can come into play. I just think India need to do something different because I thought their bowling attack was really poor in this game overall. Obviously, Jadeja taking 4 for 140 and Washington Sundar taking 2 for 107, but not being brought on to the 67th over of the game. I thought that was a very strange decision from Shubman Gill in terms of captaincy. So, obviously, they will worry about that low order batting, but if they're going to play the number of all-rounders that they are, obviously Jarrell's pretty handy with the bat as well. I'd personally be looking to go with Kuldeep Yadav and play three spinners, and I think it can work quite well at the Oval. But that's just my opinion. If I'm looking at an England point of view, I think Brighton Cast needs a rest. He looked pretty sore and tired in this game. If Gus Atkinson is available, I think he has to play. Whether they want to risk playing Jofra Archer for 3 games in a row, considering the short turnaround, it's only about 3 days between test matches. I'd personally be going with Gus Atkinson, probably in place of Brighton Cast. If you were looking to rest Chris Wokes, I'd be looking at Josh Tongue. Gus Atkinson can bowl that line and length. Jofra Archer can obviously be the pace as well as the good line and length. He's such a versatile bowler. And then if Josh Tongue can do what he sort of did in that first test match where he was able to blow away the Indian lower order, I think that could be really handy on a surface like the Oval. The Oval is one of those ones where you don't know what you're kind of going to get with the surface in terms of it can offer some sideways movement for the bowlers, but overall it's a pretty flat deck. And as I said, we've seen teams choose to bowl first. India in the 2023 World Test Championship final, Australia 2019 last Test match, England 2013 at the Oval as well. I'm sure there's some other ones that are coming to mind, but I'm always of the opinion that you should bat first. And I think India's best chance to win this game at the Oval is to bat first and then play the 3 spinners. So I'm desperate for Kuldeep Yadav to get a turn in some Western conditions. The fact that he's only played 13 test matches so far is an absolute travesty, and I certainly hope that Gautam Gambhir gives him an absolute crack at some point. So thanks very much for watching this episode of In the Cordon. Please let me know what were your main points from the test match in the comments below. Make sure that you follow In the Cordon on all of our social media channels and wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Cheers.